Some moments in life are so perfect they feel scripted by a vengeful God. This is one of those. On a crisp October morning in northwest Louisiana, a platinum blonde HOA president in a $90,000 BMW X5 decided my private hunting road was her personal shortcut. She hit the gas, screamed, "I'll do what I want, Ella," at the top of her lungs, and drove straight into 4 hollow spikes doing exactly 25 miles per hour. The sound those tires made when they gave up their souls is still the ringtone on my phone. This is the story of how we got there, and what happened after every single one of her run flats went flat in the same heartbeat. My name is Ronnie Thibodeau, and for 12 years I have owned a perfect square mile of pine-thick paradise, about 8 miles outside a town too small for a stoplight. 640 acres of deer, turkey, hogs, and silence. The kind of silence you can hear your own heartbeat in. My great-granddaddy bought it in 1874 with Confederate gold he never admitted to having, and every generation since has added a little more to the buffer between us and the rest of the world. There's one red dirt road that runs north-south through the middle of the tract. It starts at the parish blacktop, passes through 2 locked pipe gates, crosses a creek on a wooden bridge my daddy rebuilt twice, climbs a ridge where the big bucks bed, and finally dead ends at the tin roof cabin I finished the year my wife died. That road is posted every 20 yards with reflective signs the size of dinner plates. Private property. No trespassing. Hunters only. Violators will be prosecuted. I replace them the day after every hurricane because I am not subtle about my boundaries. For 11 and a half of those 12 years, the only tires that ever touched that road belonged to me, my 2 oldest friends, and the occasional game warden who already had the gate code. Then came Whitetail Estates. The developer was a slick talker from Dallas who showed up in a white Tesla and a Patagonia vest, promising luxury rural living and deer in your backyard every morning. He swore on a stack of Bibles that my hunting road would remain untouched. I even made him put it in writing. 2 years later, the retention ponds were dug, the vinyl fences went up, the mailboxes all looked identical, and the satellite image on Google Maps updated. Overnight, my private road looked like a perfectly legal connector between Phase 2 of Whitetail Estates and the parish road on my eastern boundary. People are lazy. 45 seconds is apparently worth more to some folks than the 8th commandment. It started small, a landscaping truck blowing past, doing 50 with a trailer full of St. Augustine pallets. Then DoorDash drivers looking for lot 127. Then school carpools. I put up a cable and a padlock. Somebody cut it. I put up 2 cables and a game camera. The camera caught a woman in LuLaRoe leggings and a reflective vest at 2:14 a.m. going full Navy SEAL with bolt cutters. The footage was so clear I could read the monogram on her Yeti tumbler, CM. Crystal Mahaffey, age 46, newly elected president of the Whitetail Estates HOA. Self-appointed empress of anything that offended her aesthetic within a 5-mile radius. She drove a 2023 BMW X5 xDrive 45e in Alpine White with the M Sport package and 21-inch wheels wrapped in Pirelli Scorpion Zero run flats that cost more per corner than my first truck. She wore mirrored Costa Del Mars indoors and had the kind of highlighted bob that requires monthly maintenance and a standing 9 a.m. appointment on the 3rd Saturday of every month. Crystal decided my road saved her 0.4 of a mile to the soccer complex where Madison and Mason, the twins, played travel ball 3 nights a week and every Saturday. 0.4 of a mile, 30 to 45 seconds depending on how hard she mashed the loud pedal. That was worth more to her than 12 years of sweat, survey stakes, and posted signs. The first time I caught her in person, I was topping off a protein feeder in a green field about 200 yards inside the gate. The white X5 came fishtailing around the curve, doing at least 45, bass thumping so hard I felt it in my molars. I stepped into the road and raised a hand like a traffic cop. She locked up the brakes, slid to a stop in a cloud of red dust, and cracked the window exactly 3 inches. "Mom, this is private property. You need to turn around." She looked me up and down like I was something she'd scraped off her shoe. "This road has been here forever. It's an easement. I pay my taxes. I'll do what I want." Then the window went back up, and she punched it, slinging gravel 20 feet high. I called the sheriff's office. Deputy Jude Fontenau showed up an hour later in a chewed-up Crown Vic with coffee stains on the ceiling. Jude and I went to high school together. He still calls me T-Boy. He listened to Crystal's version first. She claimed historic public use, prescriptive easement, and something about adverse possession. Jude waited until she ran out of oxygen, then handed her a copy of my 87-4 deed, the 2012 survey, and the trespass statute. She smiled that tight Botox smile, told Jude she'd look into it, and left. 3 days later, she was back. Same time, same speed, same finger gesture when I waved. I installed a heavier cable and a master lock, the size of a softball. She called the parish public works department and claimed I was blocking emergency access. The parish sent a guy named Dwayne, who took one look at my survey, laughed until he had to lean on his truck, and told me, "Ronnie, you keep doing the Lord's work." I added a second cable and a second camera with cellular upload. Crystal showed up at 2:14 a.m. again, this time in yoga pants and a headlamp, cutting both cables like she was defusing a bomb. The footage was HD. I could see the rhinestones on her phone case. That was the moment I stopped asking nicely. I started researching. Louisiana law is actually pretty friendly to landowners when you've posted properly and given notice. Tire deflation devices are legal on private property if they're not intended to cause bodily injury. Hollow spikes that let the air out slow are considered non-lethal. I found a retired state trooper outside Shreveport who builds custom units for timber companies and cattle ranches. 12 feet long, spring-loaded, remote trigger, powder-coated desert tan so it disappears in dirt. $4,000 plus shipping. I paid extra for the upgraded receiver that works from half a mile away. While I waited for delivery, Crystal kept coming. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday like a Swiss watch. I started timing her with a stopwatch. She'd hit the first gate zone doing 45, coast down to 35 through the bottoms, then punch it again on the far ridge. I'd stand on the porch with coffee and wave. She'd flip me off without even turning her head. I sent one certified letter through my attorney, formal trespass notice, copy of the survey, still images from the bolt cutter video, and a polite warning that further incursions would be met with physical barriers and criminal prosecution. Return receipt came back signed C. Mahaffey in purple gel ink with a little heart over the I.
October rolled in cool and dry. Rifle season was 16 days away. My buddies from Colorado and Minnesota had plane tickets. The road needed to be mine again.
The spike strip arrived on a Thursday in a plain wooden crate marked irrigation parts. I spent all afternoon Friday installing it, dug a shallow trench 15 feet inside the gate, laid the strip flush, wired the receiver to a 12-volt deer feeder battery hidden under a fake rock, tested the remote 6 times from the porch. Range was perfect. I scattered a 1/4 inch of dust over the top so it looked exactly like the rest of the road. Then I brewed a fresh pot of community coffee, sat on the porch swing, and waited for Saturday. Saturday, October 14th, 7:38 a.m. The game camera chirped on my iPad. White X5, turning off the parish road, right on schedule. Crystal had her Starbucks in the cup holder, phone in the right hand, screaming at someone on speaker about an inflatable Halloween skeleton in Phase 1 that was traumatizing small children. Madison and Mason in the back seat wearing matching neon travel soccer jerseys, already filming vertically because kids smell content. She hit the gate zone, doing 25, maybe 26. Perfect speed, fast enough to guarantee penetration. Slow enough the kids wouldn't even get whiplash when the rims hit dirt. I waited until the front tires were dead center on the strip.
Thumb down on the remote.
The mechanism made a sharp metallic clack that carried all the way to the porch. 4 hollow spikes shot up 6 inches and punched through 4 $420 Pirelli run flats like they were balloons. The X5 dropped so fast the chassis kissed the dirt with a grinding crunch. Air hissed out in 4 perfect streams, loud enough to drown out whatever was playing on the 12-speaker Harman Kardon system. Crystal's scream cut off mid-sentence and turned into something prehistoric. She slammed the shifter into park, flung the door open, and jumped out barefoot, yoga pants, sunglasses still on like armor. When she saw the strip deployed and realized what it was, she looked straight at the nearest game camera, then straight up the hill at me on the porch, and completely lost her mind.
You psychopath. You could have killed my children.
Madison and Mason piled out, iPhones already recording. Mason narrated in that excited 13-year-old YouTube voice. Yo, mom just got owned by a spike strip. This is insane apps. I took my time walking down the hill, hands in my pockets, coffee still warm. The morning was cool, pines smelled like Christmas, and 4 perfect streams of tire air were still hissing like angry snakes. Morning, Crystal. Told you there'd be consequences. She charged at me like she was going to swing, then remembered she was 5'3" in barefoot yoga pants, and I had a Remington 700 slung over my shoulder unloaded, bolt open, purely theatrical. She settled for pointing a trembling finger so close I could read the gel extensions. You are going to prison? This is attempted murder. I'm calling the FBI, the state police, the National Guard. Pretty sure deflating tires isn't murder in Louisiana, I said, sipping my coffee.
Might be criminal damage to property, but seeing as how you trespass to make it happen, good luck with that.
I called Jude Fontenot myself this time. He rolled up 22 minutes later, trying and failing to keep a straight face. Took one look at the X5 sitting on its rims like a lowrider that lost a bet, the spike strip still proudly deployed, and just shook his head.
Damn, Ronnie, you really gonna play?
Crystal demanded immediate arrest. Jude explained again that she was on private property with posted signs every 20 yards, that the device was legal, that she'd been served formal notice, and that her insurance adjuster was going to have a real bad day when he saw the body cam footage of her screaming, "I'll do what I want," 30 seconds before impact. The tow truck took 2 hours and 41 minutes. 4 new tires plus rims at BMW prices came to $12,812.64 after tax. They had to flatbed it because even run flats don't run when they're empty and the rims are bent. Crystal tried everything after that. She filed a civil suit for $1.2 million, physical damages, emotional distress, trauma to the children, loss of vehicle use, the whole buffet. My attorney countered with the certified letters, the bolt cutter footage, the deputy's body cam, and a bill for the 2 cables she destroyed. The judge dismissed her case with prejudice in 11 minutes and told her if she ever set foot on my property again, she'd spend a weekend in parish jail cooling off. The HOA tried to get the parish police jury to condemn a 20-foot strip for community access. I showed up to the meeting with the original 1874 deed, tax receipts going back to Reconstruction, and a stack of aerial photos from 1947 showing the road exactly where it is now. The police jury laughed them out of the room so hard, the chairman had to call a 5-minute recess to wipe his eyes. Crystal put the X5 up for sale 3 weeks later, with 11xx miles and minor curb rash. She bought a Tesla Model Y Performance in the same Alpine white. She still has to drive the long way around, adds 4 whole minutes to the soccer commute. Some nights when the wind blows out of the north, I swear I can still hear her screaming, "I'll do what I want, East Aferu, Esterine."
Going through the pines.
I just smile, top off the battery on the spike strip, and check the trail cams. Deer season was the best we've ever had. My Colorado buddy shot a 10-point on opening morning that grossed 168. We grilled backstrap under the stars and replayed the spike strip footage on the big screen like it was the Super Bowl. And every time someone asks how I keep trespassers off the place now, I just shrug and say, poach signs and Southern hospitality. The strip is still there, still works, still set to 25 miles per hour. Because some lessons only need to be taught once.
1 year later.
It's been 14 months now. The signs are fresh, the cables are gone, no need anymore, and the spike strip sleeps under its thin blanket of red dust like a loyal dog waiting for a burglar who never learns. Crystal moved her family to Phase 3 of Whitetail Estates, furthest possible cul-de-sac from my fence line. The for sale sign on her old house says motivated seller. Rumor is the twins still show. The spike strip video at parties and call it the day Mom met Karma. I still drink coffee on the porch every Saturday morning. The road stays empty except for deer and the occasional hawk hunting field mice. And every once in a while, when the wind is just right and the pines whisper the way they do in late fall, I swear I can hear 4 perfect hisses and 1 entitled scream fading into the timber. I raise my mug to the tree line. Here's to private property. Here's to consequences. And here's to 25 miles per hour, the exact speed at which entitlement meets physics and loses every single time. Cheers, Crystal.
Beyblade Day. Drive safe.